Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning.
Welcome to FYI.
Welcome.
For your information, I'm Jaretta Finance alongside Sherrod Duncan this morning. It is Monday, the 16th of May, 2022, and we're here to bring you the credible information. I see you guys all lined up there, Siobhan.
Half the month is gone.
Well, we have
half the month is gone. We got to pick up the pace.
We have successfully come through in terms of health and strength.
Yeah.
Half of the month. But why do you say pick up the pace?
Yeah. No, whatever you have to do for May.
Okay.
Half the month is gone. You got to pick up the pace if you're gonna get it done.
That midpoint.
Yeah, you're the midpoint. If you got some goals and so on you set for May, you gotta now crack down, right? We watching towards bills payment now. month 10 rushing up to us.
Well, one thing I plan on doing is getting my fitness in order. I feel like I've been slacking a whole lot on fitness, and I think that's very important.
Yeah.
It helps with your mental health and all of those things.
Especially in a country like this.
Yeah.
Right? Mental health is important.
So I actually bought
then I'm married too, so mental health is even more important.
You telling me don't get married before I got it?
I tell you, be cautious. Not to be entered into lightly or unadvisedly. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, but I did plan on just keeping my fitness in track. So I actually bought a book that is going to help me keep myself accountable.
Yeah.
Weekly, daily, according to your meals and your exercise and all of those things, right?
You gotta keep yourself accountable.
Yes.
What gets measured gets done. I think it's either Maxwell or
it's measured.
John
I think what gets scheduled get done.
But same thing because you're measuring it. You're making a check.
And I often use that point. I often use that point. What gets scheduled get done because I always like to say, and that's where I picked it up from also because I did that course with Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
That whole course
with Stephen Covey, Dr. Stephen Covey, or is Dr. John Maxwell? Either of the two. Yeah. Judy, but talking about marriage, my wife cooked a wicked curry yesterday. And I don't know if you saw a post I made on social media.
I did see this post.
But I was thinking, I didn't think it was so weird, If
what do you mean?
If the rice and the stew going the same place, like why would you need separate spoons? Like it doesn't make. I hear people make an argument, and I kind of buy that. You don't want something to sour if you mix this rice with the stew or something like that. Something could sour before the other.
I don't know.
Right? But like, why would you need a separate spoon?
My mother's the worst when it comes to spoons and stuff. My mother cooks and always leaves like a pot spoon in the pot while the food's cooking. So my brothers and I have to make a joke because I would always lose my mind over it. I would go take it out. So my brothers would make a joke out of it, and they say, "Mommy, if the pot spoon's soft, I think it's done." Why else are you?
If the pot spoon boils down, it's finished. It's finished.
She always leaves the spoon
telling
in
me,
there.
I don't want the same spoon in the thing.
Yeah, some people have that distinction. Right? Just different folks, different strokes.
Yeah,
because I probably have a little similar, but I probably a little very reckless when it comes to kitchen.
If my wife and I separate, it's the spoon.
It's the spoon?
It's the spoon, baby. It's the spoon.
No, don't worry. You gotta just learn to put the spoon in the right place.
Yeah, I give up now. I can't give up.
Keep the spoon in the right spot.
So I went to me as I smelled the curry. I had advantage, but then I see they got two separate spoons. So this is it now.
I'm team Mrs. Duncan on this.
This is it.
Separate spoons for separate pot.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason.
It's interesting. Interesting. So I won't die on this hill. I won't die on this hill. That's what you wanted. Yeah.
But that's how it is. How it is. Make sure that the curry was good. That's the most important part.
Curry was fantastic.
Good. It had any mango in it?
No. I think she don't want to spoil me. Only put this mango now. You can feel he's the king. So the whole back.
Guys, you know how I feel about mango and curry.
Got the whole back something.
It's a crime for me.
That was the only thing missing was the mango. How did you guys spend the weekend? How did you guys? We got Simone, Patricia, Jones, Bell. Wow, one person.
That's one name.
Colin Roberts is here as well, and Samoa Williams, Yolandia. Thomas is here.
Yes.
Another fancy name. Is it? You can understand. Missful the fate. you can break down.
I missed
you can decipher
I'm
these
sorry.
names.
I think I just missed
Senita Rampat is here and Mayborn King. Mayborn, how are you? Ain't see you for a little bit. Good to have you now.
I see Tessa Isaac Verzandi's on. Blessed to you both.
You know who's here too? Troublesome Candace. Now Ryan, I ain't see she's been a little bit too like the walking show. Them
Ryan.
Candace and Ryan, she's one of the ardent followers on the night program.
Oh, nice.
Always there, abusing up and cussing up and baby, man. We're going to have a look the name again. What kind of name is that? Third from the bottom.
Third from the bottom.
All right, fourth from the bottom now.
Oh my gosh.
You see that? It's fancy.
I can't.
Vernique,
It just goes by
Simon
so
Nurse,
quickly.
good to see you as well. Keith Dowling, good to see you. Suzette Washington, good to see you as well. Alicia Thomas.
You see Candace,
Yeah.
said LOL. Why do you Candace, let me apologize. It's the morning
Yeah.
just start, brand new week. Candace probably didn't come to customer be bad.
No, I'm saying in the night program. She's usually get them bad. She's one of them. She got your bell ready for throwing somebody's chest. Candace is one of them, Middle road people. Middle road, right?
I see Edward Gonzalez is there.
Yeah, from the Bronx.
I would know somebody's
From the
using
Bronx.
Edward's profile at any time because once I don't see that from the Bronx, I know it's not Edward.
Sasha, good to see you. Sasha Trim, good to see you. Dion, Ayana, Bibi, Sandy Ford.
Yes, one
Not
person.
4 persons is one. What?
Pamela Sanchari, I see you, Pamela. Good morning to you. Miss what?
People need
Miss
simple
Full
names like
of Faith.
Clear Capel.
Okay, so she broke it down. She said it's Miss Full of Faith.
Oh, Miss Full of Faith.
Yeah.
I see.
You missed it. I did not get it. So
Miss
now
Full of
you
Faith.
get it.
That's why I asked you because you broke down the other one the other day.
Yes. But I didn't get
It's
to
up
see
to
this
me,
one.
Brian.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Miss Full of Faith.
Miss Full of Faith. Oh,
She's
great.
full of faith.
Huh?
She's full of faith.
Yes. She's full of Good for you. We need that. Faith can move mountains.
But you know that, Cheryl, I just want to just identify this point. When we see the names popping up just like that, those Facebook names, that's when they're just putting in their dancing emojis and so forth in the comment section. Yes.
Really?
That's when it pops up like that. So
nice.
Desiree, I see you, Desiree. Bitter, I see Paulette Hawk, Kippens, I see Stephen Collins. All of you guys is watching us this morning. GT Boy, I see you. Good morning to you. I see Asani Bowman. Asani, what's up? I ain't see Asani in a long time. Asani, what's going on in Linden?
Asani making any money? Money got met. Money got met. Asani, good to have you.
What's going on there?
Good to have you, Sandy. Angela Jordan. Angela, how are you doing? We met Angela recently.
Yes.
And
Wonderful,
Angela messaged us afterwards to say that she really loved meeting us. Angela, how are you doing? Say hello to your husband for us, please. Please. Hold it down for us in that part of the city where you are, Angela. And Angela is between Guyana and, is it Florida? I think it's Guyana and Florida. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But Angela, we're so happy. We're so happy that you're here with us. And again, say hello to your husband for us.
So the first thing we're going to ask is that you guys do your part in sharing the stream. I know that it's very early in the program.
It's already in the week too.
We want to get on with sharing. So start to share the stream as you come on. I'm noting all of the comments right now. I like to pull up. I would like to see all these emojis. I'm sorry. I love to pull it up when it's on the Facebook live stream there so that you can see those live comments with all the good mornings, all the dancing emojis. These folks, they are on top of the game when it comes to emojis.
And you know what? They can share, they can smash, they can party with us. It's beautiful weather outside.
Yes.
Beautiful weather outside. It looks like it's going to be good weather throughout the day. But we're going to watch that. Right? We're going to watch that.
Yes. But as we go in, folks, I say again, just make sure you share the stream. We have a lot to discuss this morning, so let's just start from that point. And you would want to stay through and make sure that the other folks that you invite and share the stream to, that they have the benefit of the information.
Invite someone too. Like inviting them to breakfast. Let's join FYI together. And very soon we're gonna have our cups available for sale, and you guys are gonna be able to have a cup too and sip your morning tea with us, or whatever you have, your porridge or your tea bag tea or your cocoa tea, your chocolate tea, coffee tea, whatever you have.
Well, listen, I don't know why Sharon went back to this tea story, because tea, when it comes to the tea, we had this debate for folks that didn't watch that program. We had this debate on whether or not when you have it Milo, it's Milo, or you have it Milo tea. And Sharon is insisting it's Milo tea. That's
anything with hot water, sugar and flavored tea.
In Guyana, all toothpaste is Colgate.
It's Colgate.
All diapers, Pampers.
That's all. Even t-shirts. We say jersey, we don't say
yes. We don't acknowledge
jersey,
a brand.
Jersey. So Everything.
So folks,
Jersey.
you know what's going on that front. That's how we are here.
Yeah.
You can't just do it without us.
Good to see Bella Mona and Margaret Nelson. Good to see Angela. You know, I think if I remember correctly, Margaret is joining us out of New Jersey. If I remember, we have a story out of New Jersey on the
not too bright
on the brew.
Yeah.
It's brewing. A lot of things brewing in New Jersey.
That's correct.
Yep. But good to have you guys. Pamela Johnson and PNCR Patriots. Good morning, comrades. Good morning to you too.
We got to send to SOS our Manza, Pamela. Pamela's asking where is Manza.
Yeah, Amanda's coming back to health.
Yes.
Right? She's being nursed back. You know?
Yes.
She's being nursed back. Right? She said Simmer's backing up a little bit, but she got a release recently and
yeah, she's had some downtime.
She'll be back shortly.
She's gonna be
fired up
and about.
Fired up, right? And when you see a man's alone on here, you're gonna know she's holding the string while we get some rest myself too.
I slept like a baby.
Yeah. Naomi Druck is here, right? Yeah. She says Margaret is from New Jersey. Yeah.
I see all chewing gum is Chico. Somebody said.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, Chico. A pocket Chico. We're different, this guy.
We're so different. And I think one of the things that we have this unique way of speaking. Well, like everywhere have a unique way of speaking, but you would know Guyanese by just hearing the sound of the voice, that accent, to the
which is why I always wonder why people are so easy to put on a big accent and so on.
Yeah.
My
brother. Listen, I have a brother that's 100% against, and when we speak about Guyana and what is our language, and so he says our language is Creolese. He does not adhere to. He doesn't adhere to the fact that English is just stated as the language of the country. He said our language is Creolese.
He's a non-conformist.
So he says further that even at the University of Guyana, when the lecturer is teaching English, right, the lecturer in first year English would say that I can't remember her name, but she had this lovely way of distinguishing how we speak as opposed to how the English language and how it is meant to be used. And she said, for example, instead of us using a specific word to say to amplify the meaning of something, we would say, instead of saying this cup is small, if you want to say how small something is, it's small. We say it 3 times.
You get a picture now.
It's very small. Right? We said small.
Guys, let us know who's lecturing ENG 115 at the university these days. Please let us know. We know you're quick on the draw. Let us know who lectured ENG 115 and 225 for that matter. If it's still those course names.
No, that's not, because it was 225, right? It's different because now I think they changed all to this four digit.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I don't know why they don't like it.
I got A's in all my English courses at UG.
You got A's in all English courses? You try right there. I think I got a B in all. I am pretty sure that I got B's in all my English courses.
Well, those who
my number courses.
English go to economics.
Of course. And those who can't do economics go to English.
Touche.
Don't worry, that's the way it is.
But yes, morning papers.
But as we go on, one of the things I picked up on the morning papers, I see that a proposal has been made to reduce the speed limit to 30 km per hour on urban roads, and I think that is something that I support. Anybody
well, first we gotta educate people what are urban roads. That's the first PR campaign. We gotta go on. What are urban roads and identify them, because I feel lots of times we implement stuff. But we don't educate the people.
The sensitization.
I still see some policemen hiding behind some corners. You coming around off of David Street onto Placenton Road. They always got a police car parked up on the bridge, hiding away, and some men behind a car with a gun aiming right? And then when you come,
they jump out.
They jump out. That's madness. Even though you had all those instructions, stop harassing people unnecessarily. Traffic-wise and so on. I think I saw Mr. Hickens spoke about that, Assistant Commissioner of Police. Recently, stopped harassing citizens unnecessarily. But I guess money got make. Them boys got to make a bread. So,
well, I
but education is key, and I don't find we do enough of that where traffic management is concerned. And traffic management is a whole study. It's a whole study, and we ain't touching the
we're scratching the
we're
surface.
scratching the surface. Yeah.
We're scratching the surface. But what I have to say is that what I have to say about it is I think it's in Manhattan. I think their speed limit there is 25 km per hour. So and that the reason being that if someone gets hit by a car at that speed, then it's very unlikely that the person could succumb to injuries and so forth. So again, I want to say that I may have a little bit of bias when it comes to speed and so forth. I the slower you can go, the better for me. Right? So I saw that and I'm like, hey, you have my support immediately because I'm not a person that is very inclined to speed. I don't like speed at all. That's
I
not
like to
something
enjoy moving from point A to B. And you know, if you travel with some people, you got your heart in your hand all the time.
I'm telling you.
That's one thing. And two, I don't know. You are that traffic light. Soon as the lights say green, a man the 15 places back, he hitting the horn. You know, and some of these lights is 20 seconds. You know you ain't gonna make it 15 cars back. He's still hitting the horn. You know, some of the guys right behind you, the second the thing's in green, right?
Light on the horn.
Then you got your old car can't go from 0 to 60 like that. You got
warm up.
You know, you got warm up. You know, hit out the thing on the floor, get a hole, and then you put your foot down and you run out. You know, people don't make accommodations with that. They hit it down. The other thing too, you stop. Even if you have on the hazard light to give somebody the way to cross, them boys are watching, you know, they're beating on the inside, beating on the outside. I don't know what is the matter with people.
Marlon,
you know,
Marlon caught my attention.
Former Minister Jordan is with us.
Hi, Mr. Jordan. Good morning to you. I think today's cars are unlikely to perform effectively at that speed.
He says 30 km is about 20 miles per hour.
Oh God! So Mr. Jordan is bringing a point in, right? He said, today's cars are unlikely to perform effectively at that speed because, I have to make this point,
especially if you might be driving gear too.
So my other half would tell me that I have this debate. We have this constant debate when it comes to speed because I am 100% against going fast, and he would say that it's not efficient for him to drive how slow I want him to drive, right? So I think Mr. Jordan is actually making that point because he said his vehicle wasn't designed to be driven so slow. I'm like, that's madness.
20 miles per hour. You know,
Mr. Jordan is actually supporting that, so I have to check on that. And I may have been wrong in my arguments with him.
What's another asterisk we're going to put? You see, when you come up to conversation tree on the highway, they got buses always beating on the inside.
Yeah.
Right? The inside has a wide lane for emergency traffic or, what's supposed to happen there. But it's not for buses. It's not an expressway for buses. Whatever happening at conversation tree, the buses pull up automatically. Got one car. Let's say two taking up the two lanes. 2 cars alone. Only got to wait 5 seconds at the back.
Yeah.
The buses going to pull up. 10 of them on the inside lane.
Yeah.
I don't know what is wrong. So a lot of education.
It's a lawless culture. It's a lawless culture.
A lot of education has to go into, this kind of thing. Former Minister of Finance, Vincent Jordan, making an important point.
Yeah.
The cars might not be designed for that because you can be driving in first gear for a long time and you're going to be stretching out that gear. That's like driving Miss Daisy. Right?
Wow.
But we're going to put appropriate systems in place and then you enforce. And there must be penalties and that kind of stuff. You must enforce it.
But that's the point that I want to get to. And I'm glad you got to there. I think that it's one thing to say that you have all these regulations, but I believe that the whole reason that we have so much talk about this is because of the amount of accidents on the roadways and all of that. Yeah. And I can assure persons that when you see a lot of those accidents, those reports are coming, I think the issue that we're having is that there are not enough systems in place as yet to monitor traffic effectively. And again, persons are not facing any real consequence to breaching laws. And I want to say again, that it was under the coalition administration that Mr. Ramjatan was already in the process of making sure that he was putting cameras throughout the system. So
that was the smart city solution.
The smart
city project, sorry. City project.
The smart city project altogether. And that is something, and you have to give kudos to that altogether. And if that is actually continued, not only would it be monitoring traffic, crime, and all of those things, those systems were being put in very strategic areas. So it could basically have this bird's eye view of the city throughout. And I want to say that is the direction we need to go in. I know, for example, in the US, the persons, you don't have to see a traffic officer on the road with a gun jumping out from behind the trees to see if you're going fast. But you have cameras in place. And if you run a stoplight, you get a mail with a photo of the front and back license plate of your vehicle coming to your door, saying that this is the fine that you have for breaching that. Because of that, people take their time because nobody wants to be paying the cost. And once a cost is allocated to this specific crime and it is being able to be monitored efficiently, then we're going to see less and less of these things.
But I like that part. I like that part of the monitoring efficiently because I noticed that when they started putting down those cameras initially in the city, drivers and bus drivers especially started to respond in a positive way in terms of pulling themselves in line.
Yeah, because persons.
Right? But I think if we don't go the extra mile to actually fine, if you find the infraction, then, it makes no sense you're having cameras just for catching criminals in the sense of robbery or something like that, right? But and you know what, we have lots of countries have passed this way before. I had the privilege of going on what they call a study tour in transportation. But they don't call transportation. They say public mobility, right? How the public moves, and to study that in relation to the transit system. And one of the things we learned, for instance, in Colombia, they had a huge traffic problem in their city. Mexico too. In Mexico City, the city has about the city moves about 10 million people on public transport per day. So you have to have an efficient public transport system. And now, I don't know if we got 100,000 or 200,000, 300,000 we move on public transport. But there are already systems in place. They got best practices that are operating other places, and we have to try to adopt that. I hear about this smart city project, and there's a big command center. What's the purpose of it? Tell us over the last year how many persons using that system were fined. And let's see how the system is working. You go in. We went in this huge facility in Colombia and in Mexico City. And, it's a huge command center too. And they can show you on the public transport system, by the press of a button, they can show you a camera in the bus, and they can show you also, give you audio feed. So there's anything untoward happening on the bus, they can dispatch police. As a matter of fact, part of the command center has a police station in it. So all of it is working in sync. And one of the things that I was impressed by most about this system, because it's the public transport system, I think in Mexico City, if not Colombia, is a private-public partnership. So they used to have a bus system quite like ours. And those bus drivers now came together in groups and formed companies. And so you could have a company that has 6 buses on the road. But the government managed the regulation end, the finance end that pays these drivers, and the drivers manage the upkeep of the buses and that kind of stuff. But what I was impressed by is that, for instance, if you have a heavy traffic flow, they have a light on these huge monitors symbolizing each bus, so they can know the amount of traffic flowing here, how many buses are on that route. And if a route, for instance, there's, let's say, football at the stadium, they can redirect more buses on that side of the city to take off that transportation hazard, not having too many people on the road, stand up waiting for hours, that kind of thing. So they can easily shuffle, buses in the system based on the transportation. There's actually science. There's actual science built around this thing out. The point I'm making is that
studies you're talking about.
Lots of the problems we have, they've already been solved in other places. But if we're willing, don't send the money now because we got a little thing.
Yeah.
We got a lot of money now. But if we're willing to move the system forward, I saw one of the experts said recently, I think it came out of Kaitro News, that if we really want to meet first world status, we got all the resources at our disposal now, especially the money resource. Right? That fiscal resource, we have it at our disposal. Is to have the willpower now, and together we can do this thing. Right? We can solve some of the problems that we have here. And that traffic one is a major one, because we were chronicling here in our program, Twitter. I think you saw that. Accidents alone in April, and people were fascinated that you had that many accidents in 1 month.
Correct.
And those were only the reported ones. You have lots of accidents that go unreported. And the amount of fatalities.
Well, that's the whole thing, because it's not just a little petty accident. It's serious accidents in which persons are losing their lives. and we can't continue like that. So a lot being said in this proposal that persons are actually having a conversation on what is to be done. But I would actually go back to what I always say, is that you have to have consequences for persons actually breaking the law before we go anywhere, because there are a lot of laws in place right now. If it's adhered to, then we wouldn't be in the position that we are in when it comes to the amount of road accidents and fatalities altogether. We're not going to go anywhere by continuing to altering the laws if we are not pushing the same amount of effort into making sure that persons face the penalties when they actually breach those laws.
So
Education
and enforcement goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and I would always say put a cost to it. People just respond differently when there's a cost to something. They just always respond differently.
Not so Iron Boys and George Barker, Steve Okro, Clifton Smith. Steve Okro says copy traffic ideas. You saw the tweet? Kind of went by a little fast. Let me see if I can pick it up back from here. Maybe not. It says copy traffic ideas from other places. Yeah, I'm saying lots of the problems that we face have already been solved in some other places.
Yeah.
We just have to, seek out those best practices and employ them, right? Seek out the best practice. I saw a private company, I think you saw this too, Pixel something, put on cameras in certain areas. I don't know if it's still functioning because, these things happen, right? That were live. I saw one at the Harbor Bridge. I saw a live camera someplace else. The quality looks good. So you can actually see how the traffic is flowing there when you want to go like up in a long line or how to approach it. That could be a good idea too. So it's not only cameras that are made available to the police, but cameras that are made available to the public too, so you can see the flow of traffic and know how to.
Well, it's not just that doesn't help. That does not just help the traffic issue, but also it also helps when it comes to the crime on the roads. And I want to just make this last point before we move on, that a study was actually done in which persons actually just put a camera and put up a situation in which once there's a camera and persons have the perception that they're being watched, everybody suddenly act differently.
And that is
a
what
lot
I
of
saw
studies done with that.
when the smart city solution, the smart city cameras were first installed. But then if you don't have the enforcement end, right? But drivers know they can pull up to this light and nothing will happen if I beat on the inside, as we say, or beat on the outside.
I have a special feeling to bus drivers altogether. I don't know why.
What else we got? What else we got?
I want to actually touch on some of the headlines that was during the weekend in the papers, because these are things that we did not get to cover because we weren't on then. But I know that I see the Village Voice was reporting that, quoting, a biometric system for voting can guard against electoral fraud. So says Alexander, as he rubbishes proposal by Jack Dew. And I just want to make a point also that this was brought out actually on one of the podcasts that you covered with the comments from Miss Alexander there. So it's always good. I'm always so happy to see when the news actually picks up on these matters.
Yeah, we had a very informative discussion with a GCOM Commissioner Vincent Alexander on this issue, and some of the other stuff that's happening at GCOM we need to be aware of. We have an impending local government election we should be looking at, and we're picking up more and more of this discussion now on our podcast, especially on local government election, what's happening at local government level. And we're happy that Mr. Alexander, shared his mind with us on that, and in terms of how can we make get a better electoral system. It needs a lot of work.
It needs a lot of work.
Right? And I saw some advocacy groups last week telling the Attorney General that we need to go beyond statutory reforms, these band-aids, and actually solve some problems. If we think the system needs cutting and fixing, let's do that in a comprehensive way and move forward.
That is so true. A more comprehensive approach to dealing with all of these things, instead of just putting a band-aid here and there. Instead of a band-aid. Yeah,
we're halfway through. Let's show you some other stuff that brewing folks, some other stuff you ought to know about it brewing, some other stuff.
Yes. Well, as we look at the what's brewing on the international level, that this is what you were referring to a little bit earlier. Said Buffalo's worst mass shooting takes 10 lives.
Guys, have you been following this? Is anybody on from Buffalo? What's happening there? Right? I just see Rishi Rambali saying Jarita all the time. He says Jarita. Then he says, "Now your hair look nice." Please say something so Mr. Rambali can focus on
Rishi, good morning. Good morning.
Oh, Lord, Rishi must be fainting maybe then. He must be fainting.
Thank you for the compliment.
Fainting. I see he mentioned you about 4 times there. Never mind me. Rishi Rambali. right? Yeah, but how many folks have been following this? I mean, this is the worst in
Yeah,
ever.
because we see 3 persons dead, leaves 3 wounded. The attack was called a racially motivated hate crime. I think that is what is most disturbing. 2022. I say that
Yeah,
we have a long way to go, far way to go
very much so.
in the world altogether when it comes to race issues and all of that. And we haven't been having these frank conversations, especially in Guyana here. We haven't been having these conversations as it needs to be had, especially when persons try to pretend as though the issue doesn't exist.
Yeah, but you know what? While we commensurate, is that the right word? Leave my dictionary. With the suffering of those folks, friends and families of those we've lost in Buffalo there. What stood out to me is the fact they said worst.
Yeah.
In Buffalo's worst mass shooting. It means there have been others.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what a strange headline, because all the trouble that we have as a country, we don't have that.
Thank God.
And I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
Being everything all right. Right?
But we have to nip it in the
But
we have
got
to nip it in
couple
the
good
bud
things going
because
for
we
us.
don't want to get to that point, because I think that those actually happen because of the access to guns and the gun laws and regulations there, and how easier it is for persons to acquire those so that they will be weaponized to go out and commit those acts. But we have to safeguard ourselves so that we're not empowering persons to go out there and to do stuff like
and
that
then
in the future.
The fact that it's being deemed as a hate crime.
Yeah.
As a lot of things, and I saw some reporting on this matter too. Those of you who've been following it, that links it back to the Republicans and the kind of messaging, and dog whistling that has been coming out of the Republicans. I saw some reporting suggesting that. As a matter of fact, I think I saw that this morning on UK Guardian's website. They were talking about that. Republican dog whistling and leading to these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it goes to show you have to be as leaders, especially political leaders, you have to be very cognizant of your messaging altogether, especially when it comes to things, issues of race and all of that. I think the fuel that it puts is something that we often understate the impact that those things make. So I, for one, I have a zero tolerance for in my own recognition of all that is said. I have a zero tolerance for any speech or anything when it comes to hate against a specific race. That's something I don't tolerate, period. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you don't make it as a joke. Don't make race jokes. I don't do race jokes, period. None at all. So I just draw the line right there down the middle. I don't want any association with anything concerning race and race baiting and all those things. That's not what I do. That's not what I stand for.
In other parts of the world, though, it seems to be having first, let me say again, our condolences to all those persons. That's 10 persons dead. That is a lot of grief and anguish there. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the Buffalo community there. I mean, we gotta put a. I think the U.S. gotta now really and truly look at gun laws and all this freedom of the carry and all this kind of stuff, and to fix that. Right? I sure we can solve that problem. We could put a man on the moon, we could fix that problem. But we seem to be having also a confluence of elections. We got a local government election pending. Might have even a general and regional elections pending too. Them boys could forego local government because they seem to want a mandate that doesn't say installed.
That
doesn't say installed.
The money that is spending right now.
Yep. You know where else has an election happening? You got one happening in Australia on May 21st.
Yes.
Right? Mr. Jordan, did you know that? Australia has an election that is looming, and quite strangely, Xi Jinping, the president, premier, the head of state of China, seem to be looming large, featuring in the Australian elections.
Explain to me why.
People here talking about foreign interference, right, and the reliance on China as against a more, how independent are nations these days when you got to rely so much on your allies and so on.
Nations are as independent as they depend on others. Their independence stops just where their reliance stops.
Yeah. So we thought this was quite interesting that Xi Jinping, the head of state for China, is looming so large in the Australian election. China has a lot of initiatives. They're trying to woo countries to them as against the US. You got the Belt and Road initiative, and you got some other things happening too in China. And this is part and parcel of that whole debate and discussion in Australia. And what is of note is that folks think as well that you could have the opposition. I can't remember what they call it there. The opposition in Australia could be coming to government because they seem to be ahead in the polls right now. They could be coming to government. So that's what's happening there in Australia. I'd love to go to Australia too. That's one of the places on my bucket list. It looks to be a fascinating country. And you know, you always hear about the Sydney Opera House and so on, and seem to got some very picturesque landscape and so forth. I think that's one of the places on my bucket list.
I see. I have to just turn my attention to the comment section a little bit. I see Marlon Lorimer is saying that she just wake up not feeling well. Marlon is one of our ardent followers, and she's always on looking. So I see she's not feeling well this morning. So I say speedy recovery. Make sure.
Marlon, we wish you well. We wish you speedy recovery. Take it easy. You know, we gotta be gentle with ourselves. You know, and it's one thing with us. We don't look after ourselves. You know, you often hear elsewhere. You know, people go for a checkup and so on. We don't. We self-diagnose, and largely, you like, we say that you're like back out, you drink a malt. Something I take some bush.
And special good morning to Guyana Spectator also. I see a comment. Guyana Spectator is coming through as always. I see Whiskey Session. Hey, good morning to you. And so many other persons there right now. I think there's a little bit of a fight in the comment section right now. I want to referee this match.
As well as that, you know, I saw Naomi Jaka earlier says that she happy that I mentioned Rishi because she watching me too.
Oh.
Who hitting you up too often, you know? You what?
Rishi's
you obviously she watching him too. Ariel, Hector, good to see you, and Oswald Hubbard. Folks, share the program and smash that emoji button. Partner with us as well. You know, another election happening closer to home as we come closer in the region. There's an election that is happening where? In Grenada. This is June 23rd. You got Australia, you got Grenada, and Dr. Keith Mitchell there is seeking a 6th term. I'm wondering why.
I don't support that. I'm sorry. I don't
like,
care
since
how
good a little boy here, Dr. Keith Mitchell is Prime Minister of Grenada.
I feel
a 6th
I don't like to. You know, we're not living there.
A 6th term.
And we don't know the dynamics of it and level of support and reasons being and all of that. But I've always believed that you don't that is just bordering on not so good words. So,
a 6th term.
I don't know how I feel about that. You know, a country is when you think about democracy and good governance and all of that, you have to have systems in place that you don't have an avenue for someone to be in there for so long. That's just my view. That's my view on that. So I don't think you should have an avenue for a person to be in power for so long.
Well, you know, people say it's democracy, and if the Grenadian people don't want Dr. Keith Mitchell, you know, they're going to exercise their franchise. But their nomination day is June 1st, and again they head to the polls on the 23rd. So it's a conference of elections in Jamaica also, even though it's not something we deem as brewing and have it there this morning. They have a by-election in one of their constituencies too. So lots of elections happening, you know, regionally. Right, Rita.
John Jones is saying Keith Mitchell is overdoing the do.
Is it John Jones who where's
Mr. John Jones?
Spiceman, could tell us a little bit about this.
Yes,
Spiceman is in Grenada. So Spiceman, let us know, Spiceman, what is happening on the ground. Brent Mentor is telling us there's an election for Texas governor as well. You know, this is a conference of election.
That is correct.
Spiceman could tell us, because Spiceman is on the ground in Grenada. So Spiceman, you're expected to file a report. Let us know what is the temperature on the ground there. And share the live and smash the emoji button, guys, while you're at it. And you are being mandated to file that report, Spiceman out of Grenada, and let us know what is happening there. And we want one from Brent Mentor too. Let us know what is the temperature on the ground there in Texas with that governor's race. Please and thank you. And let us know too if somewhere close where you are is having an election, so we can give it a mention, right? So that's happening on that front. What else we have, Rita?
I say Jamaica maintains its position regarding the Commonwealth Secretary
Oh
General
yes.
post.
Oh yes. You know,
Right?
they were hoping there was some hope that there would be a unified front from CARICOM, right? And listen to me, I say not because you do something 100 years, that's how you gotta do it all the time, right? Perhaps we don't like steam crow every day. Perhaps. Perhaps we want a little pumpkin today. Right? And Jamaica has a right to self-determination. I mean, I don't know if this thing was written into the revised Treaty of Shagaramas that you must have a unified position on the Secretary General. Perhaps they don't like, what's her name? Right? Scotland, Baroness Patricia Scotland. Perhaps they want to go in a different direction. So let the chips fall where they may. Right?
I think...
And they seem to have tremendous confidence reposed in their Foreign Affairs Minister. This is the young lady that we're seeing here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we've got confidence in that, we should drop down. You know? Let me drop down.
It's early in the morning, sure.
Let me drop down the boy and see how we fare.
I have seen Todd takes, if it's nothing else, I think Todd could... He really got some stamina when it comes to taking setup, you know?
Yeah.
He just put himself out there, check the setup.
In checking and learning.
Check the setup
In checking and learning.
and go on with it. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Throw Todd onto the bus. So it wasn't me. The minister acted without cabinet approval.
But I think they were really trying to get some buy-in. This is CARICOM leaders, right? And some of them seem almost upset because if you listen to Gaston Brown out of Antigua and Barbuda, he seemed to be upset that, I mean, if you got somebody who you could trust, you know.
You can't be upset.
You can't be upset. The people are confident in that they have a woman who could do this job. And, you know, I say more power to Holness. Right? If Andrew Holness feels as Prime Minister, you know, this girl could be good for the Commonwealth. So be it.
And the thing is about it, a lot of politics, plays out in the background as to why and who and where and when.
You know,
so
I would love to see maybe Jack Dio.
99%
Jack Dio in government. Maybe Jack Dio could think you think it's a big and so on. Maybe that's the national elevation. You know.
But I think the important point that you made is that not because something has been done one way forever means that it has to go on like that.
No. That's the challenge that we have in this place, you know. Challenge that we have.
Everybody, especially as young people, you know, you often have to be faced with situations in this person because they're not used to doing it in your way. They don't want to divert resources into that direction as to the new way that probably is going to be more impactful. But that's a different conversation.
And you know, lots of countries like Britain of itself had a lot of challenges. Boris Johnson had a lot of challenges with Scotland, and he was at one point holding back aid from the Commonwealth until certain matters were sorted, because there's so much happening initially.
What did I just say about influence? The influence goes as far as the reliance is holding back aid. When you rely on people for things, they insert themselves and control and seek to dictate what is going on. I see in the comments actually De Jong is joining from France.
Let us know what's happening there. And Alison Pearson says in Ontario, the premier, there's a election on June 2nd. I think that's what she means there. June 2nd. I missed some of the other comments that look pertinent, but they're rushing by so fast. Guys, we're happy that we got a very interactive viewership, and we love that. We love that. Marlon Young says love from France. I saw Shirley Crichton says Todd is where he there. Shirley wants to know with Todd there, right? Nevertheless,
Todd was put there to take some lashes.
A lot of other stuff happening too. You know, Twitter, we've been following, guys. We've been following what's been happening in the BVI. You all know what's been happening there with the premier, Mr. What's his name, Twitter?
Oh, I cannot remember.
You know, that got caught in that sting operation. The U.S. authorities.
All the phone calls and everything involved.
Yeah, Mr. Foy. Andrew Foy.
Sure, I'm not good with names, you know.
He is people are watching that still. He's on a $500,000 bond. The U.S. authorities were trying to have that revoked. They're fighting that out, but the permanent secretary in his office is now under investigation. She's been asked to proceed on leave, so we're following that too, you know. And part of what is coming out of that investigation, folks, we learned that Mr. Foy had promised, I think, for a lesser sentence, he would cooperate. with authority. So people are looking to see they fall out from that. And I think this is a consequence of that. His permanent secretary might also be implicated. The permanent secretary in the premier's office might also be implicated in some of this stuff. So, but she's on leave pending investigations. Yeah, so a lot of stuff happening in the British Virgin Islands, and that is kind of taking the beauty away from that fantastic piece of paradise.
But again, I have to say that a lot of times we read the headlines and so forth, and it begs the question from where I'm sitting, like what is being, I always ask myself, what is not being said, what is not being reported, and where all this coming from, because we see her being sent home, we know all the evidence that has been put out there when it comes to the premiers and his involvement in that whole situation there, but what is just beneath the surface,
a lot
that we are not getting,
a lot. The authorities know, and we can see this constant
but
drip,
not as just
drip, 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 drip.
Correct, but I think we need not forget the fact of the intervention and that was being recommended from the UK.
Yeah,
and I didn't see that as something that is just too accidental for that intervention to even be on the table.
Yeah, I think the UK could be tremendously embarrassed here.
Right?
I think they're going to go for a full cleansing of the system. So let the investigations go wherever they choose. The direct rule from Britain, or the premier goes forward as the deputy there standing in. But I think they want to really and truly gut corruption out of the system, and so you can continue to see some of this, like the permanent secretary being on investigation and so on, other individuals too, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
but we're following that.
But I'll be looking for what is instead.
Right, as we come closer to home, guys. As we come closer to home, this is what we're following out of New Jersey, which is why I said to Margaret Jones earlier on that we're coming around your corner, because we learned that Guyanese singer, American Guyanese Kurt Johnson, was gunned down over the weekend, and he was had just left his brother's birthday party and was heading home. As he exited the apartment, I think a hail of gunfire, and Kurt lost his life there. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family and the Guyanese community there in New Jersey.
That is correct. That's very, very sad piece of news that we're looking at right now, because a lot of times persons leave this country to try to in search of this better life because of whatever hardship they were facing back home here, and it's very sad to know that someone is trying to make a good life for themselves, and then this is the news that your family is faced with back home in Guyana, and everyone is left to grapple and to put the pieces together at this point in time. Very, very sad, and our condolences to his family. I know, very sad situation for Guyanese altogether.
Yep. Our Guyanese viewers in New Jersey, have you guys been following this? What are your thoughts? We'd love to hear from you. And closer to home, even closer to home, are we closer to home?
Yes.
Yep. Are we?
I think we are very, very close to home, especially when it comes to the credit union.
Well, this is dragging out, and I think if there was
throughout the weekend,
if there was ever a situation that was mishandled, right, by the government, the PPP, by the current board interim management team, is this one. Right? Totally mistimed it, and I think they should really step back, allow Trevor to come back and go about the business some other way. Because this thing looking bad on their part. Honestly, God, I saw some footage over the weekend where the gentleman who looks like he wants to run for chairman, he was running from the public over the weekend because there was a protest outside of the establishment on Saturday as the management team was meeting. And apparently at the conclusion of the meeting, Mr. What's his name again? German Hermanstein approached them. And in the most bizarre thing you will see in a long time, Mr. Hermanstein says to the protesters that he was the one who, fought for loans and so on. This is a campaign now, right? And they can look back at the minutes of some meeting in 2000 something. It is as plain as that. This is campaigning now. And I'm thinking, like, what's the matter with these folks? Anybody would know there is absolutely nothing to appease those protesters. Not to say
there is something.
Nothing. Well,
There's only one thing to appease
Yes,
the protester.
and that is Ben going back as chairman. Right? But this guy comes out and he's laying out the case for himself.
Yeah.
I was the one.
Yeah.
Well done. Mistake. The protesters wailed into him, and he literally, ran off back into the security of the credit union. I'm saying, I've never seen anything more bizarre in my life. Separately, individually, these people might be intelligent and professional people, but together, my God, my God. I don't know who said it.
I think the text said so.
It might be Kofi. Again, I'm quoting. It could be, it might, but it says, never confuse is I think it's Maxwell. Never confuse a team with a collection of people, and that's a collection of people. That's the management team. That's a management collection. I have never seen anything more bizarre. Right? He's trying to appease, and after the meeting, he yawned like a bad John, and then he's left fleeing. Right? He's campaigning. He's clearly campaigning. Perhaps he's the force behind what's happening in the world. Perhaps I don't know. Clearly campaigning. I was the one. You go back and you check. Why would you want to do that? Tone deaf. The whole management team, tone deaf. This guy should just retreat, and do the right thing, as Rita says. There's only one thing. I said it was nothing, but she was right. There's
only one thing. Let's be honest. I think and over the weekend, I think one of the things that was also, and we have to mention it here, is the credit union body. They actually refused to discuss the petition by members, and those are one of the repercussion that's coming after that is people are going to get more angry. And protest is going to mount, obviously, because persons are not if you refuse to hear the people through the structured way of listening. When a petition is actually people speaking to you saying that this is what we want. So it wasn't heard, refused for it to be heard, persons walked out and all of that. And then you can't face the people. I think it's I don't know who is, I'm listening to everything. I don't know who is advising on these matters, I always say you don't get yourself too involved in something if you're not ready for it. And I see a lack of readiness with everyone that is there to actually deal with what they have created. They created a situation that they were not prepared to deal with, because at some point in time, I think persons forgot that they're dealing with people and people's money and all of that, and these people will speak.
They tried to lynch Trevor. But they weren't prepared for the long haul of it. And what is happening is
because they assumed
from the membership
that the support that they were going to get from the administration, whomever in there was advising them, the blatant setup, they assumed that those persons would have been coming out. But those persons are political minds, and those persons aren't going to throw themselves out there for that. They're going to let you take the fall, like Todd was left to take the fall.
Guys from the management team who running back to the building. I said, well, look, story here.
Brutal lesson.
Story here, but as we approach the hour, person of interest. Person of interest. I think, Jurita, you can take this one.
Well, the person of interest, as we're seeing him there, is Matthew Gall. And Matthew Gall, the University of Guyana graduate. He is doing this program called Common Sense. And
good program.
Yes, he hosts Common Sense, and basically it speaks towards improving financial literacy. And I just want to give him some kudos at this moment, because I've actually watched the program a couple times, I go there and I make my comments and so forth. But I want to say that I'm always in support of young people coming out there and having and lending their voices to the situations. Right? And he has been doing quite an amazing job. I think one of the things that he does is he brings issues put it into real life scenarios. I know one particular program that I was on with him when I joined to look at was one which he had, I think, like 3 young married people, and they were talking about finance, basically. How do you address finance, dating and marriage and all of that? But he is no ordinary person, Matthew Gall, and he actually is a graduate from the University of Guyana with a bachelor's degree in finance, and also he graduated with a distinction. So he has somewhat of financial the knowledge, the academics when it comes to it, and now he is putting the academics and trying to apply it to everyday life. And this is how And I think it's getting a lot of traction. And I encourage persons to go out there, view his program. Very brilliant young man. He seems very humble. I don't know him personally, but I'm giving him credit because I think credit is completely due there. And I have to say that I have to reiterate something that you said also, that Chronicle has been doing some good features.
Yeah, that's what we said over the weekend. And we've actually picking this story up from Chronicle over the weekend.
Chronicle has been doing some good features when it comes to persons. I think I mentioned this program on very, very early on, but we didn't do a feature on him. But he's an excellent person. I think, what is the page that it is on? I cannot remember the name of the page.
It's Georgian Capital.
Oh, the Georgian Capital. That is the page that actually has those videos. So very insightful.
It's also available on YouTube.
Yeah, very insightful for young people to go and have a look.
Take a look. Yeah. I think we can all improve our financial literacy, and especially in relationships, it's a big issue. In relationships, is a subject that must be tackled very early.
Yeah.
And I think it must be big
young
issue.
people are doing amazing things, very much so. So kudos to you, Matthew Gall. Continue to do good work, and you have our support.
Yep. And we had to the big issue, which is whether or not you guys feel as though this government consults.
Man, sure, what kind of rhetorical question is that?
Is it a consultative government? Is it a consultative government? That's one of the issues we're
You
asking.
see how you always give nice photos?
Right? Yeah, I don't know. They don't do us the same favor when they report on us.
So,
I mean, when you go down to the level of hunting for ugly photo with somebody, we're in a bad spot. You understand why we can't fix traffic and so on, and road accidents and so on? If that's the big issue, right? Looking for bad photographs. We got a good program too.
Ugly photos. I'm so
vain.
So
that's what we asked ourselves this morning, because we have been following some of the issue. And for instance, if we look at
Guyana Spectator said consult who? I'm not sure. I think Guyana Spectator is coming over a little bit.
He's coming around. So look, let's look at the issue.
He or she, but
right. Let's look at an issue, and we can look at several issues. And
consult the people. That let me just put it out here. Consult the people.
Yeah,
and the officials all together, the experts.
There's one we've been tracking. Go back to school. CPC. Go back to CPC or be fired. Ministry of Education tells untrained teachers in the system. Go back to school or be fired. Right? And this story in particular, with this heading, we're picking up out of Kaitro News this morning. Go back to school or be fired. It's in all the morning papers. And the thought is, are they consulting the teachers? To come to this level, have you consulted them and them? If the untrained teachers and them say, we're adamant we aren't going back. And this is just one instance. For instance, we can talk about what's happening at the local government level, what's happening in the indigenous community, what's happening in the oil and gas sector. We can talk about all of that, and whether or not we believe that we have an administration, a regime that consults. It's interesting. Interesting.
I see Chipper is there. I know in the comment section, Chiselle and Shelly. I see you guys there in the comments. I feel the urgency to referee the comments on sometimes.
Yeah. Because you have that happening, and while a lot of folks saying the minister herself needs to go back to school, frankly speaking.
But we have a lot to talk. Well, continue.
Yeah. While the minister needs to go back to school, that whole topic can be explored in a different way. For instance, if teachers, because you mold the nation's children, and we agree that the more trained teachers you have in the system, the better. It must augur well for our students, for our children, if you have more trained teachers in the system. There's one thing to know, to think even the practice, but is when you marry theory with practice, you get some good results.
Correct.
Right? You marry the theory with the practice, and it must augur well for our kids. That's one. But the second point, if it's important for teachers to go back to school to be trained,
that they're qualified,
how much more government minister? How much more permanent secretary? Like how many ministers? What would you say is the minimum qualification a minister should have? A first degree, a master's degree, right? What would you say? If you're molding the nation, this is not the children. You got the whole nation to mold through the policies you implement, and and all of that. You're spending the public's purse. What should be the minimum qualification of a person who is selected and elected for high office? If you want to put, say, the teachers, because of the important role they play, should go back for training. How much more somebody who oversees policies that governs the teachers?
I think the PSs are at the forefront of that, actually, especially when it comes to the fact that we had this whole conversation about a PS being in charge of an entire ministry department, and what we have there is we're seeing persons that are coming in with a diploma, and now they are spearheading this body when it comes to finances and the way in which the public monies are spent altogether, and they are being put in positions over persons that are duly qualified. So when you want to talk about these things, you have to look at it holistically, and you don't set the wrong example at the helm and then go and try to impose, do as I say and not as I do within the system. I think that's the issue that we have here.
Yeah.
But I want to also make the point that I am yet to see, and there's an issue here when it comes to consultation and the way in which the government, the Ministry of Education, the Minister of Education has been interacting, or lack thereof, with the teachers' union altogether, and the fact that those conversations are not being had so that they can have a very structured approach when dealing with these specific issues. Because as you would know it, when it comes to teaching and access to Cyril Potter College of Education, this is not something that you can find in every nook and corner of the country. So what is the intervention when it comes to persons, teachers that are in the hinterland regions? How are you dealing with those persons and all that? And I want to make another point right now on this, whilst we're talking about this. There was this big headline that teachers no longer have to get released to go to the University of Guyana, because the University of Guyana programs now that are being offered it will be issued during the classes would be in the evening, so teachers could basically work and go to those classes. And I want to make the point that what was not said is always about what isn't said. What was not said is that all programs are not like that. And so teachers that got released to go to University of Guyana, that are doing programs that were not in the system of getting night classes, and so now they have this ultimatum to either leave to basically they're forcing them to leave the job or drop out of UG, because the night classes doesn't cover every single program. So teachers now that have got the release to go to do the program that they're doing currently, that will not be done in the evening, are left with an ultimatum. So a lot of times, because of lack of consultations and actually looking at the system, structuring it holistically to cater for all these nitty-gritties, you have a lot of issues, underlying issues that are not addressed. And then we're looking at this particular policy, because someone did call me, and said that the young lady said she have to come down to Georgia, and she was looking for actually somewhere to stay and all of that to make sure she can do that. So there is a larger scope of issues when it comes to that, and I believe that this should have been done. It should have been heavily consulted with, especially at the level of the union, because I don't know what aspect, if any, was actually done via union consultation, so that we'll have a joint approach and all of those things can be looked at all together.
Yeah. So it's interesting how much is the government talking to teachers about this? It'd be interesting to know, because we're talking about consultation, but as an administration consult, how many teachers in the system currently are going to be impacted by this? It'd be interesting to know the age group, because if you've had teachers in the system for a number of years who perhaps could be close to retirement, like why would I want to take on going to CPC now if in 3 years time I'm retired? It'd be good to see the numbers. What does the numbers say? How many teachers are going to be impacted? Where are they from? Who are going to be impacted? And then if they're going to take, let's say you have to come to town, but do 2 years of CPC. What happens at the interim where you are?
But it goes also, and I want to note that there is let's not forget that there was this whole thing with the CPC, in which the numbers were in terms of capacity, the numbers were basically has basically grown tremendously with the amount of intake that it had, simply because they were not just using the physical classroom, and they have had expanded the program during the COVID period to say that you're going to have persons come on and sign up to do online class. And I want to note at this point in time that there are situations that persons are not, things that persons are not talking about enough. It was raised at the level of Parliament that in some cases the teachers have never ever been, persons enrolled, in CPC has never actually had any formal teaching, but what they are receiving is some documentations and so on a flash drive. That's how they're learning.
I wonder if
Right?
if we accepting people in the system now without formal training, if as teachers, if that's still a thing, or there's a minimum standard now that says if you want to be a teacher, you have to have an education certificate from CPC. I wonder if that, or you're accepting people, but then you're forcing them at the other end to see you have to go and get training.
No, but and I want to say that I support training, and I think we're making this clear.
Yeah.
We support training. However, the structure has to be something that you look at holistically. You can't just come and just shout a memo without a proper structure in place. It is not okay. Let me just say that it is not okay if you're going to have persons signing up and having those persons access the education system of the Sierra Portal College of Education online. It is not okay when persons in the hinterland have to be receiving a flash drive, and that is a method and a mode of training that you're giving. That is not training. Let us just put it out there. So when you're looking at this system altogether, we definitely have to be very strategic in the way in which it is done. And I think when it comes to education, this is something that I lend support in any good initiative when it comes to education, because the plight of our nation relies heavily on the people's ability to understand and comprehend so many concepts right now. And the more educated our people are, the better off for the country. So I always support education and educational initiatives. But I'd say that this needed more consultation. It needed a whole lot more structure. And just don't come and shy a memo out there just like that. That's not how you do it. That is an incorrect way.
All right. And that's what we're talking about, consulting.
Yeah.
It's not only this. There are a number of issues, and we dare say, I wouldn't even want to say the government should consult, but they should consult in general. But if even the mandatory consultation that is engendered by the Constitution, has to be forced. Could you imagine them consulting ordinarily? Can you imagine that? So it's something that needs to be looked at. And again, if you examine every facet of social life, every sector, and you would see lots of it is a big stick policy.
Yeah.
Do as I say. Do as I say.
But it's always nothing. So I do, because we have, you should go examine the ministers within the current administration, the PSs and so forth. Examine them and their qualifications, and that's why are they even there. Come on.
So maybe that should be a minimum standard.
And I could talk.
That could be a minimum
standard. And I could
standard.
talk, right? I always like to say, you went through the struggle so that you could talk.
Yeah, PS, because you could have the same thing. The same thing happens. You could have a teacher who's been in the system for a long time, who was traditionally unqualified. You don't have a undergraduate diploma from CPC or UG or something like that. And you could have a public servant who's been in the system for years, who rises to the level of PS, don't have the formal qualification, but you got all of the experience, quote unquote. But that person could be a PS, manage a whole multi-million-dollar ministry, billion-dollar ministry, right? But a teacher, you're saying you got to go and qualify yourself. Right? So maybe you need a yardstick to enter the public service. What's the minimum qualification?
Yeah, and I think when we
teacher was the minimum.
But I think I support, like I said, I'm supporting teachers being qualified and all that. And I said it has to be looked at in a very structured way. And I think it was very disrespectful altogether to just dash out a memo. That's how I saw it, dash out a memo, just like that. That's how I say it. That's how I felt about it. And I think when we're looking at having teachers have the formal training and all of that, I think that it's good that you're looking at education in such a light. And I think that it is ridiculous for you not to come with a policy that is looking at the pay scale for teachers simultaneously. I'll just say that right
now. And when we're looking at issues like the oil and gas industry and lots of these projects that are coming on stream, and they don't do, for instance, the environmental impact assessments, they don't want to talk to people. It's a no-brainer. We don't need that. You waive that. That's part of that process that is being that's being left out. You look at community after community. You hear, for instance, We're going to put a airport in someplace. Palmyra. You can put
after they forgot to put it in the budget.
Right? You can put some after you forgot to put it in the budget. You can put some other thing, some other place. I mean, like who asked you for that?
Where the money coming from?
Right? Where the money coming from? Who you consult with? You tell me, you need.
You have a budget and your budget. Yeah. I think you've been making this point very sound on every program where you're saying that you had this whole budget process,
yeah.
and you highlight these. This is what you're going to do, and then you come after and you say, "Oh, we're going to do this, and it's not in the budget." But the biggest question is, it's not like what you're doing outside of the scope of the budget, but it's where you're getting the money trying to do these things,
Yeah.
It's very
the numbers, people. Mm-hmm. You all know your house, in your families, it comes back to the numbers.
Why do you even budget, watering down the whole budget
we waste the whole process. We waste the whole time. 2 weeks in the National Assembly, fighting it out, duking it out on the numbers, and then you come and where do you, So I think if
there's a sit-in tomorrow. There's a sit-in tomorrow.
I'm happy for y'all.
Yeah. Charlotte's still on suspension.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Loving it. I don't miss Mansour Day. Or none of them. For that matter. Don't miss them. Don't miss them at all, But good to see so many of you are here, guys. Good to see you. Royal Hamilton and Rockcliffe, Paris and
I think Mansour miss you.
Yeah. It's good for you. Happy for you. Happy for him.
He's bored without you.
We gotta do what we gotta do while we're there. Good to have Royal Hamilton, like again, Rockcliffe, Paris, and Kearns and Siobhan McDonald. Guys, drop us a comment. We give you guys a shout out. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's been our privilege having you guys. You all are so much family now,
Yes.
When you all come in the kitchen, just open the pot and you do what you want to do. Come open the fridge, you take a soda and you're gone. It's family, right?
I have public accounts this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to give an update on the public accounts committee when it comes, because guys, those of you who have been following in the media would know that the public accounts committee actually had this whole issue with a criminal investigation recommended for a particular matter with an engineer, and the engineer had after that written to the Public Accounts Committee, apologizing profusely for his conduct and behavior and responses, and asking for the committee to reconsider their decision to actually have that investigation done and so forth. Well, the committee did take a decision to hold on to its initial position when it comes to the matter. I think conversations will be had with.
So he will investigate it.
Well, the investigation will be at the level of the Auditor General's office, and based on the findings there, and it will proceed to the police.
Okay.
If anything grave is noticed in that altogether. So that is something for us to note.
Donna, good to see you, Donna McDonald, Pansy Fields, Marilyn Thomas. Marilyn, how are you doing? We're continuing to talk on our podcast today about election issues. We've been talking about some election issues. Roxy McKinnon, good to see you. Vesta Hardy, Raj Kumar.
We have to ask, whilst we're talking about election issues, how many of you are actually out registering, getting your
Margaret is recommending guests for the morning program. We see you, Margaret. We see you. Pansy Fields is there as well. Marilyn Lorimer. Marilyn, I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah.
And all the other guys. Thanks for joining us. Do share. And smash that emoji button for us. Smash it for us, guys. And we need your partnership as well. We're publicly funded by you guys who watch our program. That's how we go day to day, month to month, and year to year. Now, believe it or not, we're heading on 2 years, and we're so grateful. 2 years as broadcasting all our programs. And we're heading on about 4 or 5 months now of the morning program.
Yeah.
And you guys keep us coming back because you've been so gracious, and we're so happy about that you guys show up morning after morning. As long as you guys keep showing up, we will keep showing up.
Yes.
Partner with us. We're available via Cash App, via PayPal, via Zelle, MMG, available via MoneyGram, Western Union as well, guys. Our number you want to contact is 627-6963 on WhatsApp. We'll tell you how you can contribute via any one of these platforms. Again, PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union. 627-6963. That's our MMG number and our WhatsApp number as well.
Coming home and register. She's coming home and
register. Good. I like the seriousness in which we're taking that. Very, very serious.
It's gonna be.
We love it.
I think the next election in this country, I think we cannot fathom the actual reality that is going to play out at the next
Yeah.
election. You know, so it's
Yeah.
something that I think we all need to be extremely prepped for.
Is the mother of all?
I'm telling you.
mother of all election.
When you look at the numbers, and I'm not talking about the election numbers, electoral numbers there. When you look at the numbers that it's just there, just in your reach when it comes to the oil resource and the amount of money that it will be generating for the country. And so you can just imagine.
Where we going? Where we there?
You can just imagine the amount of greed that is going to be taking over some people to do whatever.
Yeah. Guys, have a fantastic rest of the day. We see you guys back at 12 for Below the Belt, the podcast. And we're back at 8. We in the ring. We're going to duke it out there. We're going to fight. And some issues, come right to fight, guys. I want to fight some of y'all. God knows. Lord knows I want to fight some of them boys. God knows.
I think.
Yeah. We'll see you guys back at 12.
As we go, guys, I know I've been I've been looking at the comment section, Guyana Spectator, Dexter, Haley, behave in the comments there. They're not nice. They're not nice. Guys, we appreciate every single morning that you join us, and we say that continue to join. Make sure you share the stream, and everyone else could benefit from the information. Come on, make sure that you bring your comments, your critique and everything all together. We welcome all. So see you tomorrow.
Yeah. You know, somebody messaged us last week. They say, I'm getting y'all on the TV now. I'm so happy. Y'all figuring y'all way around these smart devices. You know, you can get us.
That's how my mother looks at it.
Some televisions you got the Facebook Watch, and then you got you can get your YouTube on the television.
There's
too.
Facebook Watch there too. I have to go check that one out.
I
hardly touch the
that
TV.
pulls in the live programs.
I didn't know that.
Specifically from your Facebook page, up on the television's Facebook Watch. It's called.
I know I have a TV, but that's it.
you can do YouTube from the television as well. And the person was very excited. Watching y'all from the TV now. Well, you know, when you look at if you have a good smart television, you pick up stuff in movies you didn't notice before. Say, hey, all this happened here. All this happened, you know. So we're so happy for you guys, and we're happy to be here with you guys as well. Have a great day. Stay safe.
And bye, guys.